I guess everyone is here. So let's get started without any further ado. Before we do so, a quick formal introduction on my name is Mohammed Shoaib. I'm a cybersecurity trainer certified from EC Council. EC Council is the leading organization for trainings and certifications in the domain of cybersecurity. And they have again released a course called Certified Ethical Hacking, which the version running right now of that certain course is version 12. And this is a course specifically built for people who are new to this domain and who have no clue what cybersecurity is, or what hacking is, or what ethical hacking is. This course covers the fundamentals or the foundations of cybersecurity for people who want to get into this domain. Okay. Before we get started, are there any questions that anyone wants to ask me? Please do not hesitate to let me know, guys. Again, you can use the chat box or you can use your voice as well to let me know your queries. Okay. So, any questions also before we begin? Abhi, Ajay, Jasbir, Joel, Rohan, Shrikant. I hope everyone can hear me perfectly loud and clear, and there's no issues with the audio.
Uh, yes, sir. Just one question before proceeding with the session.
Mhm.
Is it mandatory to have networking knowledge for the certification course?
Again, not in depth, Joel. Okay, you at least need to know what IP addresses are, what are public IPs, what are private IPs, a few important protocols. Okay, TCP/IP protocol, DNS DHCP protocol. But the thing is, again, so if not many people belong from an IT background, so what we have done is we have included all those concepts which I've mentioned in the course itself. So it's not again, if you have it, it's much better. Even if you don't, I'm going to explain all those concepts as we progress with the course. So again, it's included in the course itself. I
Yeah.
hope that
Okay. Thank you, sir.
right. Perfect. So again, let's get started, guys. If you notice on the screen, the course is called as Certified Ethical Hacking. So let's get started with the definition of what is hacking. And again, what is ethical hacking as well, and how these two are different. Because a lot of students have a misconception that hacking and ethical hacking can be used interchangeably and they're one and the same. That's a wrong idea. They are two different things, guys. So let me define each of them. So when you talk about hacking first, now, you already might have heard about hacking from a lot of websites, or you might have watched it in movies or whatever. But to define it, hacking is the process of trying to gain access to information systems. Now, what I mean by that phrase, the procedure of gaining access to information systems, is if I were a hacker, and let's say if I hack your phone, it means remotely I can access the data on your phone. So without your permission or without your knowledge, I can steal your data from the phone. I can destroy your data, okay, or I can sell your data to other people. And all of this is done without your consent. Okay, and this is for the hacker's benefit. So again, reading the definition again, it is the procedure of trying to gain access to information systems. These could be anything. They could be your as small as a mobile phone to as big as a web application server or a database. Okay, and this is done without the permission and knowledge of the organization or the person owning those systems. And this is usually performed by hackers for their own benefit. And sometimes hackers are so mischievous, they can even do it just for fun. Okay. Now, if hacking is such a malicious task, if it is such a criminal activity, why do we have a course called ethical hacking? Is the question. Again, how is this getting ethical in the first place? How is this getting legal in the first place? Okay. To define ethical hacking, on the other hand, it is the procedure of trying to find vulnerabilities. This term called vulnerability is something that you're going to hear throughout the course, guys. Okay, because this is where the hackers try to find the connection to your device. How they try to connect through the vulnerabilities to your system. So to define a vulnerability, it's a loophole, it's a flaw, it's a security flaw in your system, which hackers take advantage of to get access to your device. Okay, it's a weakness in your security. Okay, so ethical hacking is the procedure of finding such loopholes, such weaknesses, or vulnerabilities in the information systems with the consent or with the knowledge of the organization. So again, as an ethical hacker, it's your responsibility to work hand in hand by abiding all the rules and policies set by the organization and working in boundaries, okay, with the in the boundaries of the organization with their rules to find the loopholes in their systems. And once you find the loopholes, you report it back to the company so that they can patch it up before any other hacker can take advantage of it. So again, reading out the definition one more time. Ethical hacking is the procedure of trying to find vulnerabilities or loopholes in the information systems. And this is done with the consent and knowledge of the organization owning those systems. Why? What is the purpose of this? This is done in order to report the vulnerabilities back to the company or to the authority so that they can patch them up before any other hacker can exploit those flaws and cause any harm or create any cyber threats. Okay. Is that clear, guys? What is hacking? What is ethical hacking? And how they are different from one another? I hope these two definitions are clear for everyone. Abhi, Ajay, Gautam, Jasbir, Joel, Rohan, Shrikant. Any questions or doubts up to this point?
Oh, I'm good. Thanks.
Okay, Jasbir. Someone mentioned. Okay, perfect. Again, guys, please do not hesitate to let me know if you have any questions. If you don't understand something, I can repeat it as long as you want me to, because again, you need to have a clear idea of what the course is about before you proceed in joining the course. Okay. So depending on these two definitions, guys, of hacking and ethical hacking, we can categorize the types of hackers as well. So usually there's three main broad categories, which are called as black hat hackers. So let's begin with white hat hackers first. Then there's someone known as a gray hat hacker, and then there's someone known as a black hat hacker. Okay, so these are three broad categories of types of hackers: white hat, gray hat, and black hat. Okay, and let me define what each of these are now. So firstly, if we go with the black hat hackers, these are your cyber criminals, okay, or the people whom you can just basically call as hackers. Okay, someone who performs hacking for their own benefit or just for fun without asking for consent. Then there's someone called as a gray hat hacker and a white hat hacker. Now, if we go into the other end of the spectrum, if I define white hat hacker first, these are the people who abide by the laws and policies of the company and work for securing the organization. And they can also be called as ethical hackers, okay, working for the betterment of the security of the organization. And in between both of these hackers, black and white, there's another third category, kind of a mysterious category called gray hat hackers. Okay. Now, these people have both the qualities of a black hat hacker as well as a white hat hacker. So, like a black hat hacker, they don't ask for permission first. Okay. So they're not very again, they don't work on every legal term, or they don't abide by all rules and regulations. So they don't ask for permission first. Okay. But once they find a vulnerability, once they know that the system has a certain loophole, they report it back to the company without taking advantage of it. So, like a black hat hacker, they don't misuse it, or they don't exploit it. Okay, they report the vulnerability back to the company, but there is a minor catch here. They do this in return for a bounty. A bounty is something which benefits the hacker for reporting the vulnerability rather than misusing it or exploiting it. So most of the times it's a financial reward, okay, to the gray hat hacker for reporting the vulnerability without misusing it. So therefore, these gray hat hackers work both offensively and defensively at various stages. Okay. So again, they are the good guys itself, but the thing is they don't follow all the rules. That's the only difference between gray hat hackers and white hat hackers. Okay. Now, all these three types of hackers, whether you take black hat hacker, gray hat hacker, or a white hat hacker, all these hackers perform hacking or ethical hacking in a certain procedure. And that procedure is called as cyber kill chain. It can also be referred to as hacking cycle. Now, to define it, cyber kill chain or hacking cycle is the procedure that hackers follow in order to perform a successful cyber attack. Okay. Now, this could also help. So, this knowledge of how to perform a successful cyber attack could also help cyber security professionals to understand and detect or prevent these cyber threats. Okay. So, this is a procedure how hackers or ethical hackers try to find loopholes or try to attack on them and try to prevent them. Okay. So, our whole course is going to work on the cyber kill chain itself. Okay. And your EC Council organization, the organization who was giving this course, it has provided a very perfectly well-rounded hacking cycle. Okay, which means this procedure that is followed by EC Council is foolproof. It is going to work if you follow it accordingly in the correct methods and the correct steps. And this procedure, cyber kill chain hacking cycle, consists of 5 important steps. So let me list them out first, and then we'll discuss about each one of them, because those 5 steps are what comprises our course. Okay, so first step in the cyber kill chain is called as information gathering. Secondly, after information gathering, you have scan. After scanning, there is gaining access. After gaining access, there is maintaining access. And finally, after maintaining access, there is reporting or clearing traces. Okay. Oh, I guess a couple of students have joined recently. Guys, again, if you have joined a bit late, this might seem a bit confusing. Don't worry. At the end of the class, I'm going to give a quick summary again. Okay, just in case. So any questions up to this point, guys? Again, as mentioned, first we have talked about what is hacking and ethical hacking. Depending on those two definitions, we have categorized the types of hackers. And now we are learning what is the procedure followed by those hackers, okay, to perform a successful cyber attack. Okay, so again, that procedure is called as cyber kill chain. And this cyber kill chain contains 5 important steps. Okay, and our whole course is going to we'll be working on these 5 steps itself in the whole course. Okay, because this shows you how successful cyber attacks happen. Okay. Will you upload it to YouTube? Yeah, guys, again, the institute will be uploading this to YouTube as well. I mean, this demo session. What is DevSecOps and will it be covered as a part of this course? No, definitely not, Shrikant. This is not a part of DevSecOps. Okay, that again, that's completely different. Okay, trying to create applications development and also checking the security of those applications. This is not related to DevSecOps. That's a completely different domain. Okay, this is towards cyber security where you're learning how to test the security of every device in your organization. You're not testing applications here. You're trying to test the security of a whole organization, not limiting to one single application, okay, or one single product. I hope that clarifies. Any questions, Shrikant?
Sure. Mr.
Right, perfect.
Am I audible?
I can hear you, Shrikant, yeah.
Yeah. So I understand that. So now, if you are checking from the network perspective, right? So from the application perspective, are the tools that we use here are totally different from the tools that we use to monitor an application there?
Not just network, Shrikant. Again, if we progress with the demo, I can give you a much better picture actually. But again, just to give you a gist of it, we're going to cover all the networking devices and also a bit of web application testing and mobile testing. Okay, so that's what I mean by when you talk about DevSecOps, you might have an application, a product developed by a company, and then you check the source code of it. You try to do SAST, what do you call that? Source code testing. Again, basically, where you try to check the source code, try to find vulnerabilities in the source code, static analysis. Yeah, SAST, static analysis security testing. This is DAST. Okay, we work on the front end rather than working on the back end. So we find vulnerabilities in websites, we find vulnerabilities in, again, every device, okay, that could exist in a network. Okay. And then again, including mobile pen testing as well, finding vulnerabilities in mobile phones. So just to give you a list of tools that we would be working on, that would include Nessus, okay, or Wireshark or Burpsuit. These are the kinds of tools that we would work on. Again, I hope that clarifies.
All right, good. Thank you.
Right. Okay, don't worry about all that, guys. Let me come back on track. Okay, let's talk about these 5 important steps, and then you might understand what I just clarified. So again, as mentioned, your whole cyber kill chain consists of 5 important steps. First step is called as information gathering. Second, you have scanning. Third, gaining access. Fourth, maintaining access. And fifth, reporting or clearing traces. Now let's talk about the first step, which is information gathering. Now, as the name itself suggests, you might have understood what information gathering is. This can sometimes also be referred to as reconnaissance or footprinting. So various companies call it with these names. Okay, again, all of it mean one and the same thing. Now, the main objective of information gathering is to trying to gather as much data or as much information as possible about your target organization. Okay, and this information is gathered passively. What I mean by passively is you do not contact the organization in any way. And all of this information is obtained from other third-party sources on the internet. Okay. Now you might have a question. What information are we trying to gather? What information do we need to perform ethical hacking or to launch the cyber threat? Okay. And that information is listed out here. So before you perform, again, a security testing or even a cyber attack, this is the information that is needed to be obtained by hackers and ethical hackers as well. So firstly, you need the IP addresses. Okay, IP addresses are again, it's an identity given to every system. It's the name that is given to a device. Okay, most probably a numerical name. Okay, and again, you need the address for each of those devices in the organization or the complete range of IP addresses, which is called as a network block. Okay, network block of the organization. So you need to know the IPs of individual systems in that organization, or the whole network block, or the list of IPs for that, or the range of IPs that is being used by that organization. Then you need the who is records, which tells you who's hosting their website for them. Okay, so which company is hosting their website, when was their website first created, when will their website expire, okay, when was their website last updated, all that falls under whose records. Then you have something called DNS records, which gives you information on the domain and the subdomains of the organization and their IP addresses linked with that domain. Domain is nothing but the URL that you notice there, www.google.com. That's the domain. And then you have subdomains for Google as well. So you need to get the list of all subdomains and the IP addresses linked with those domains. Then you need the operating system information telling you what operating system are they using on their servers. Are they running it on Microsoft servers? Are they running it on Linux servers? So and so. And then you need the employee details, such as the contact numbers, their email addresses, their usernames or passwords that might have been leaked on the internet. So all this information is supposed to be gathered when you perform the first phase reconnaissance. And believe it or not, all this information is readily available on the internet. You can get them from a few certain websites which are acting as gold mines, basically. Okay. Coming to one of the questions in the chat box, this course is free or demo sessions on? Again, no, only the first few classes are demos. Anil. Okay, again, this is the first demo. After this, we'll take a few demos on networking concepts as well. Okay, where we learn what are the important networking terminologies, IP addresses, DNS servers, DHCP servers. Okay, all that is learned. Okay, again, that was also going to come under the demo itself. After that, once we dive into the hacking phases, information gathering and all, from there, it's going to be a paid course. Okay, this is not a completely free course. Right. Now, if I show you a bit practical for this part for information gathering, if I want to find the DNS records for a certain company, I can go to my browser, and in my browser over here, I can search for a website called DNS Dumpster, a very popular website in the cybersecurity circle. This is a website which is capable of giving you the DNS records for any company. So for example, if I search for tesla.com here, tesla.com, and if I click on search, this starts providing me the information of all the domains and subdomains of Tesla. So at the moment right now, tesla.com has how many DNS servers? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 DNS servers. Okay. One of them could be their primary DNS servers and the others could be secondary DNS servers. So these are the host names of those servers and the exact IP addresses. So this is what an IP address looks like, guys. We're going to discuss more on this in the upcoming classes. Okay. But again, this IP address information is very crucial for a hacker or an ethical hacker to launch the upcoming attacks. Okay. Because on these IPs itself, you try to find the vulnerabilities and you attack the servers. Okay. So there are 7 servers that are related to Tesla for their DNS information. And in these 7 servers, you have the rest of the information mentioned in this website. So firstly, there are MX records telling you what is the mail server for Tesla. So Tesla is using outlook.com for their mails, and this is the exact IP address, the exact address of the device through which all the mails for Tesla are being routed. Then if you scroll down much further, these are the domains of Tesla and the subdomains of Tesla, other websites which are related to tesla.com. And these are the exact IPs of the server on which that website is being hosted. So again, very crucial information. You need to note down this information when you perform, again, information gathering. Okay. And once you have this information, this can be utilized as the input for the upcoming phases. Okay. Scroll down much further. It also tells you sometimes what server are they using, Linux or Windows. Right? Keep scrolling down much further. And this here is a network topology map telling you how what is the, again, topology of the Tesla's organization. How many servers do they have and how are these servers interconnected with one another along with their IP addresses. So when you want to perform security testing for Tesla's organization, these are all the devices that you have to test the security for. Okay. So again, this information needs to be given out by Tesla itself, guys. DNS Dumpster does the job of collecting this information from various places on the internet and accumulating it and putting it in one single location, okay, or compiling it in one single location. So again, it makes your job of collecting information from one source rather than searching all over the internet. Okay. Similarly, there are other websites as well which make that certain job easier for us. Okay. And again, our task in information gathering is to try to find all this information from these websites. As simple as that. Okay. Is that clear? Any questions or doubts up to this point? Logging out for personal emergency. No problem, sure. That's completely okay. Any questions up to this point, guys? Abhi, Jasbir, Rohan, Shrikant, Tarun.
Shoaib, when we do a penetration testing or something, right? So, do we need to perform on all these devices, or will there be any focal point that we target upon?
Thing is, you have something called a scope of pen testing, Shrikant. They will be telling you what domains to test and what domains not to test. So again, they will be providing you that information. Okay, so these are the domains that you have to test the security on. These are the domains that you have to prevent testing the security. Okay, so there's always something called ROE. This is a document called Rules of Engagement document, where the company specifically tells you the rules and regulations, what domains you have to test on, what tools you can use, what tools you should not use. Okay, and again, what domains you should prohibit yourself from testing. So again, there's no one single methodology for every organization, to be clear.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right. So again, out of that scope, again, this DNS dumpster website shows you all the domains available for that organization. So again, you have to verify from the scope and check out of these which domains you should be testing. Okay. And again, in these tools that we'll use in the upcoming classes as well, you can blacklist those domains which are not supposed to be tested. Okay. And then you find the information for the required ones and you test on those ones specifically. Okay. So again, coming to the next phase, guys, after information gathering is done, then you go into the next part, which is called as scanning. Okay, this also has a couple other names to it. It is also sometimes referred to as enumeration. Okay, so when you talk about scanning, guys, this is the phase where you get some extra information on the target, but by making active connections. So the main difference between the previous phase and this phase is that in information gathering, you got the information passively. Passively in the sense, we try to obtain it from third-party websites. So when I'm getting information from Tesla about Tesla from this website DNS dumpster, Tesla does not have any clue that I'm getting this information about it because I'm not directly contacting Tesla. I'm getting information about Tesla from another third-party source. Okay, but scanning isn't like that. In scanning, we try to directly attack the servers of Tesla and retrieve some extra information, which we could not get passively. Okay, to understand it much better, I can break down scanning in three parts. There's something called as network scanning, then there's port scanning, and then there's vulnerability scanning. In network scanning, you try to figure out in the organization's network. For example, if we take Tesla, how many internal devices do they have? How many firewalls are they using? How many web servers are they using? How many routers are they using? Are there any other servers that they might be using internally? FTP servers, DNS servers, DHCP servers, okay, SNMP servers. Okay. So what we're trying to do over here is in their internal network, we're trying to figure out what all actual devices exist. Okay. Are they using any other security-based devices as well? IDS, IPS, intrusion detection systems, intrusion prevention systems. Okay. So trying to get a network map of their internal organization. Okay. Once you know what all devices are there available internally, okay, not on the public side, but in the intranet, then you perform port scanning, trying to figure out on each of those devices what ports are open and what services or what applications are running on those ports. And once you know what ports are open or what services are running, finally you perform vulnerability scanning, trying to figure out if on any of those services or any of those applications, there is a weakness that you can attack on. And even if you find one service vulnerable, it could give you access to the complete system. Okay, in most of the cases. So during this phase, we'll be using two very important tools, guys. So we use a tool called Nmap, which is a port scanner and a network scanner. A very popular tool, been there since 1997, but still is one of the most predominant tools in cybersecurity, used even in the latest applications. Okay, so this is one of the best tools for performing network and port scanning. And after this, you can use another tool called Tenable Nessus. This is a tool used for performing vulnerability scanning, trying to figure out in your organization what devices contain what weaknesses, what misconfigurations, or what vulnerabilities. Okay, so every time there's a vulnerability that is released on the internet, Nessus gets to know about it. Okay, and it scans your network for those weaknesses. Okay, and hence it's quite an expensive tool as well, guys. So if you click on this official website for Nessus called tenable.com, you can notice the price for it. It's around $6,000 or so. This should update, yeah, 6242. This is the actual price for Nessus, and that only for 1 year subscription. Okay, so you have to make a payment of that amount every single year to use this tool. Luckily for us, we don't have to make any payment. We have a trial version for this to learn about it. Okay, and once you join the organization is going to definitely pay for it, of course. So, but again, to learn about it, luckily Nessus provides a free version called Nessus Essentials. And in our course, we'll be working on that, which works exactly like the pro version of it. Okay, 1 second. Some text messages in the chat. Okay, never mind. So once you have performed scanning, guys, once you have performed the various parts of scanning, network scanning, port scanning, and vulnerability scanning, and once you get all the information about the organization, next phase is nothing but attacking on it. Okay. So again, first step was information gathering, second step was scanning. Once you've got all the information from both these steps, next phase, that is gaining access, which is the actual hacking part, the phase where real hacking occurs. Okay. So again, I hope it is clear for everyone what is information gathering and what is scanning. Any questions or doubts for anyone? Shrikant, Rohan, Jasbir, Yadav.
No, I'm good. Thanks.
Abhi, Jasbir, Shrikant.
Yeah, I'm fine too. Thank you.
Okay. Rohan, Abhi, can you hear me, guys? Any questions on your end? Okay, assuming no questions, proceeding forward from now. So again, when you talk about gaining access, guys, this is the procedure as mentioned, where you try to attack each and every endpoint on the organization and try to test the security of it. So again, this is the main core of the subject, guys, actually. Again, where we cover this testing the security of every single endpoint. Okay, so the main objective, as you can see, attackers use vulnerabilities found in the earlier phases of information gathering and scanning to gain access to the singular system or the application or the complete network. Okay. Again, as mentioned, the main core of the subject contains a lot of modules. So the first topic we'll be covering in gaining access is system hacking. How do you crack or bypass any Windows operating system password? So for example, if you're placed in front of a system which is locked, and if you don't know how to, again, and you don't have access to the password, then we learn how do you crack the password for that system, or how do you bypass it, which means without knowing the password, how do you still access the internal files? After that, we learn about malwares. One of the most recurring cyber threats are from malwares. Okay, malwares are a word joined from two different terms called malicious softwares. Okay, and there's tons and tons of categories of malwares. To list out a few important ones, there's viruses, worms, trojans, spyware, rootkit, whatnot. So we'll practically learn how to create these malwares, how to defend our system from malwares, and how to detect if there are already malwares installed on our system without our knowledge. And then there's a bonus concept called malwares advanced. This is not included in the CH curriculum, guys. I've just added it as bonus topic where you can learn how to create malwares using Python programming. Again, I'll be sharing the resources for this, guys. Okay, it's not a topic that we'll be learning throughout the course. Also, you don't have any requirement for learning any programming language for this course. Okay, if you already have knowledge on Python, this is a beneficial topic for you. Okay, after that, we have network penetration testing, where we learn what are the common attacks that occur in a local network. So there's attacks like sniffing attack, man-in-the-middle attack, denial of service attacks, hacking Wi-Fi routers, cracking the password for Wi-Fi routers. All this falls under network penetration testing. When you talk about sniffing, guys, this is a very important concept actually, where you use a tool called Wireshark, one of the most popular tools in cybersecurity. It's a packet analyzer tool. So this tool is capable of capturing every packet that flows in your network, okay, and gives you a log of every packet and the contents of it. Okay, so sniffing is where you can capture all the packets flowing in your local network, which has its both advantages and disadvantages as well. Okay, and after that we learn about again disadvantage being one of the attacks called man-in-the-middle attack, where hackers can try to capture your information, which is your usernames and credential information as well. Okay. Then there's DOS attacks, commonly called as denial of service attacks, okay, where hackers can again send huge amounts of traffic to servers and shut them down. So we'll learn all these commonly again occurring attacks in cybersecurity related to the network in this course. After that, we have hacking wireless networks, as mentioned, where I show you how hackers crack Wi-Fi passwords, Wi-Fi router passwords, and get access to your network. Okay. After this is done, then comes social engineering, where we learn how do hackers perform phishing attacks. Phishing in the sense, how do hackers create fake replicas of websites? So if there's facebook.com or your bank login page, hackers can create an exact replica of that website and send that page to you. And if you don't check the URL properly, if you don't verify the page properly, and if you enter any credentials in that page, those go to the attacker directly rather than going to the actual servers. Okay, so we learn how hackers create these fake websites and how do they perform these phishing attacks as well. And how do you prevent it? How do you detect whether a page is a genuine one or a fake login page? We'll learn that in social engineering. After that comes hacking web servers, where we learn how to attack servers on the back. So if there are any services running on a web server, how do you test the security of those servers? How do you check for vulnerabilities on those servers on the back end? And how do you attack on it? Then there is hacking web application, also commonly known as web application penetration testing. And this covers a few topics, okay, as listed out here. Okay, now this altogether is a different course in itself, guys, web application pen testing. But we'll learn a few vulnerabilities that could commonly occur on the front end of websites, such as SQL injection, cross-site scripting, broken authentication, and file upload vulnerability. So these are vulnerabilities where hackers can, again, get access to databases by injecting malicious SQL queries or injecting JavaScript to execute unwanted actions on the website. Broken authentication is where you can modify cookies or get cookies of other users and log in with those cookies without knowing usernames and passwords of victims. And file upload vulnerability, from the name itself, you can figure out it allows hackers to upload malicious files to a server and get complete remote connection. So these are a few vulnerabilities that exist, again, in web application pen testing. Not all of them, again, just a few important ones. And during this phase, we'll be using a very important tool called burp suite. Again, this is a web-based proxy tool. What it means is it allows you to capture every request from your browser and go through that request, modify the request, and send it to the server according to your necessities. Don't worry about it. I'm going to explain that in much more detail in the course. But the reason I'm showing you all these tools, guys, is just to give you an idea that we'll be working with the same tools that are used in real time. Okay, so I'll be practically showing you how to effectively use these tools in your organization to find all the loopholes or the vulnerabilities in the systems or in the applications. Okay, just to give you an idea, guys, of what tools we are using, because these are the same tools that you would find a requirement of in all the job descriptions. They'll tell you that you need to have knowledge on Wireshark, burp suite, Nessus, Nmap. So these are the most commonly used tools in a lot of organizations. Okay. Then comes, after web application pen testing, we have the next topic where again I show you how to evade security devices. So sometimes your firewalls, intrusion detection systems, intrusion prevention systems. So we learn as hackers, how can they try to evade them if there is a possibility, how to bypass these security devices and get access to the internal network. Then we talk about vulnerability assessment, a very important concept in cybersecurity. Okay. To explain this in simple terms, you're trying to assess a vulnerability. You're trying to verify whether a vulnerability truly exists or not. What I mean by that is when we use this tool called Nessus, which is, as mentioned, a vulnerability scanner, this will generate a report to you telling these are the vulnerabilities in your organization. So you just can't submit that report directly to the organization. You have to verify that first. Okay, because the tools might also give you sometimes false positive results. So your job as a penetration tester is to go through this report, test every vulnerability manually by attacking on it and verify if this is truly working or not. If it is working, then you tell the organization, this is the loophole, these are the loopholes in your system. Okay, so that whole procedure of verification is called as vulnerability assessment with penetration testing. So you're trying to assess or verify every vulnerability by attacking on it or by testing its security by penetrating into it. Okay, and that is called as a VAPT, vulnerability assessment with penetration testing. Okay, so this is what we learned in the vulnerability assessment class. And during this module, we'll be using a tool called Metasploit framework, the best framework available on the internet today or in the world today for performing penetration testing. Okay, so we'll be working on this as well. After that, we have last part, which is hacking mobile phones, where we learn how do you test the security of Android phones, how can you send Trojans to Android phones and get complete remote connection to them. So from here, I might be able to control your phone there by just sending a small application, which is not even more than 1 MB. Okay, but I still have access to all your contacts, all your images, all your file data, everything remotely. So we learn how to hackers perform that. Okay, and after this is done, guys, this is the main core of the subject as mentioned. You're covering every endpoint security. You talk about system security, you talk about network security, you talk about wireless security, you talk about web application security, and you talk about mobile security as well. Okay, so you're covering every endpoint that could possibly exist in an organization. After this is done, there are two small topics left out, which is maintaining access and reporting or clearing traces. So in maintaining access, what we do is, guys, I think the main objective of that is where hackers try to retain the ownership of the card. What it means by that is once you've got a remote connection, you need to maintain that connection just so that it doesn't get lost even if the system reboots. Okay, so during this process, the hacker tries to establish a stronger connection with the target system. He tries to elevate his privileges, becomes the admin on the admin user on the target system, and he tries to maintain a persistent connection. Okay, so that the system does not lose that connection even when there's a reboot. Okay. And finally, there's reporting or clearing traces where, again, the reason why we have two steps here is because this is where it differs for hackers and ethical hackers. First four steps are same, guys, no matter what kind of a hacker you are, whether you be a black hat hacker, gray hat hacker, or a white hat hacker. First three steps, okay? Information gathering, scanning, gaining access, maintaining access, all these are same for all the kinds of hackers. What varies here in the last step is, again, reporting or clearing traces. If you are a white hat hacker or a gray hat hacker, you perform reporting, trying to generate a report for the organization, elaborating all the weaknesses or the vulnerabilities, and providing solutions as well to remove them. But if you're a black hat hacker, you definitely are not going to report anything. You want to stay anonymous. That is, again, clearing traces, trying to stay anonymous, trying to remove all the evidences or the footprints generated, deleting all the log files, okay, and erasing the evidence of their actions, just so that they cannot be traced out. And that is your last phase, clearing traces. Okay. So again, this is the whole procedure, guys, that occurs in real-time scenario as well to perform cyber threats or to also defend your organization from cyber threats. Okay. So any questions or doubts up to this point? Anyone? Abhi, Jasbir, Shrikant.
Sure,
Rohan.
this is Shrikant. So, so for the job profiles that we look for after completion of this course is just cybersecurity. So when I say cybersecurity, there are a lot of things that are getting listed out, right? So uh, what niche area will we be looking at after completion of this course?
Good question, Shrikant. Just to clarify that, let me show this a bit practically. So this is a website called jobs.null.co.in. So there's something called a null community. Not sure if anyone has heard about this, but cybersecurity community in India has this name called null community. Okay. And there's a website from them called Null Jobs. So this is a website specifically only for cybersecurity jobs in India. Okay, nothing else. And these are all the domains that you have in cybersecurity. You could say the subdomains. Okay. So once we are done with this course, Certified Ethical Hacking, you can start applying in the freshers job because this is a beginner level course for people who want to get into cybersecurity. So you can apply for security consultant job roles, SOC analyst job roles, security analyst job roles, ethical hacker job roles, okay, associate SOC analyst job roles. These are some examples of the job roles that you can apply for. Okay. Now you might have a question: what SOC analysis is? Don't worry about it. I'll be covering that in the course as well. This involves using tools called SIEM tools, SIEM tools, security incident and event management tools. It's more of monitoring and analyzing traffic in an organization. So we'll be covering those tools as well in our course. One of the most popular tools for SOC analysis is called Splunk. Okay, so we'll be working on this tool as well in our course. So again, just to clarify, these are the job roles that you can apply for, Shrikant. Again, you can apply either in freshers or also in VAPT, vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. These are also some of the job roles that you can apply for. Some of them require some experience, some might not. These are the two fields where you can apply for jobs, VAPT or again, ethical hacker or fresher job roles. I hope that clarifies.
Yes. And are there any prerequisites for this course?
Yeah, coming to that again, this is the whole course content, guys. 1 second, let me share that screen. Yeah, this is the actual course content. Okay, now before we dive into this course, there are a few prerequisites that are required, but again, as mentioned, I will be covering them. Since not everyone is from a might not be from a technical background, I will be going with this course from the very basics. So first, we'll cover networking basics. I'll explain you myself what IP addresses are, what are IPv4 addresses, what are IPv6 addresses, what is the DNS protocol, DHCP protocol, what are public IPs, private IPs. All the networking fundamentals are covered in this course. After the networking fundamentals are done, we will be learning something called virtualization. That is one more prerequisite actually. I'll be covering it, no worries. Okay. So in virtualization, what we learn is how to use a tool called VMware to set up virtual machines. What I mean by virtual machines is that in your one single device, in your one single operating system, you can run an application called a virtualization software, inside which we can run other operating systems also. So if I show you this a bit practically, you can see on my screen, there's this application called VMware. This is a virtualization software. And this allows you to run other operating systems inside it. So there's something called Kali Linux, one of the most important operating systems for our course. And I can run a Windows 7 as well, just to show you. So again, this application allows these operating systems to borrow some resources from the base machine, some memory, some hard drive space, okay, and run these other operating systems individually. So again, we'll be learning what this virtualization is in depth. I'll show you how to install the VMware application. I'll show you how to set up these operating systems and use them as well. Okay, so the reason why we need this, as mentioned, is guys, for this one single operating system called Kali Linux. Okay, Kali is one of the most important operating systems in cybersecurity. Okay, reason being, this Linux operating system comes pre-installed with all the tools required for cybersecurity. These tools are not available for you in Windows. You cannot find them in Windows operating systems. They're only available in this operating system. This operating system was built for the sole purpose of cybersecurity, for performing penetration testing. So I'll show you how to install VMware, what is virtualization, and then I'll also talk about Linux commands. Since Kali is a Linux-based operating system, you can download it for free. This is completely open source. Anyone can download it for free from this website, kali.org. And as you can see, most advanced penetration testing distribution. So I'll show you how to install it and how to run this, how to get familiar or get comfortable with Linux commands. So that's the next prerequisite, understanding Linux and Windows commands. After these prerequisites are covered, then we dive into the other advanced concepts. Okay, so these are the three prerequisites: virtualization, networking basics, Linux, and Windows commands. After these are covered, we dive into the other concepts. There's a lot of other bonus concepts as well, guys, which I've not listed out in the demo: cryptography, reverse engineering, IoT, basics of cloud security, and Splunk for SOC analysis. So these are some other advanced core topics, again, which are added as bonus topics in our course. So the whole course, guys, is going to comprise of around 45 days, 35 to 45 days. Again, only on weekdays, though, from Monday to Friday, every day for 1 hour each. And I guess the available time slot right now is 9 p.m., guys, if I remember correctly. Let me check the chat box. Yeah, 9 p.m. Exactly. So again, we will be, which lab will we be using? Again, as mentioned, we'll be setting up a practical lab in our own device itself, in this VMware workstation. In this VMware workstation, we have a lab where we have an attacker system and a couple other virtual machines, other victim systems. And I'll show you how to attack or how to generate real-time attacks in this virtualization setup. So again, your lab will be available offline on your device itself. You don't need to access any lab online anywhere. Okay, you will have 24/7 access to it on your own local system. Exactly.
So we have to download these tools to our system.
Yes, I'll be sharing these applications to you over the mail, and you can download these and install this on your local device.
So they will work on the Windows or Mac, right?
For Mac, there are some alternative tools, Jasbir. So the tools which I've mentioned right now are for the Windows operating system. For Mac, the one tool is going to alter. So you won't be using VMware. There's something else called Oracle VirtualBox. So again, I'll assist you with that as well. Don't worry if you're using a Mac operating system.
Yeah, because I have a Mac.
No problem. No problem. No worries about that. We can handle that easily. There's nothing to worry. So we have tools for both Windows and Mac operating system. Don't worry about it, guys. We will be working. You will have a practical lab setup no matter what platform you're working on. Okay. So again, as mentioned, the course is going to comprise for around 35, 40 or 45 days, guys. Depends on holidays in between also. But again, you'll have classes from Monday to Friday every day for 1 hour each. And it is at 9 p.m. IST, Indian Standard Time. Okay, and again, all the tools are included in the course price itself, which you can confirm from the institute, guys. And again, you will be getting my personal number. Let me drop my number here in the chat box as well, if you have any other queries to talk about personally. Yes, I've dropped my number in the chat box, guys, just in case.
Yeah. What is the class time, you said?
9 p.m. IST just be 9 p.m. Indian Standard Time.
So that would be 9 in the morning in the USA.
Central Time Zone, just be.
No, PST.
I guess there's a half an hour delay or something if I remember correctly.
I
IST.
think it's 12 hours. Yeah. Because I thought this class going to be at nighttime. I mean, PST nighttime.
9 p.m. IST is 11:30 a.m. in the morning. No
No,
worries. Again, just
that's
wait.
East, but I'm in the PST.
Oh, PST. Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. 9 p.m. should be your 8:30 in the morning. Just be.
That's a kind of conflict for me.
No problem. Again, we'll figure it out. Nothing to worry. There are other batches running as well. We'll talk that out with the institute once. Check out what all available batches are there. And again, don't worry. You will get a batch with your suitable timing required for you. So, but again, guys, if there are people in India, anyone who's from India here, you can join the 9 p.m. batch. Again, that might be a suitable timing for you. So yeah, again, that's that about the course, guys. If you have any questions or so, you can let me know. Again, one important point to note here, every class will be recorded. You will be getting the recordings of the batch of the whole course, okay? And the notes is already prepared for every class. I'll be sharing notes and the materials for each class, and you'll be getting them on your email. So again, you just need to maintain a rough notes. Other than that, everything is prepared. All you have to do is join the sessions, listen to it, and ask your questions and clarify everything. So again, you'll be getting the recordings, you'll be getting the material from official EC Council organization. You'll be getting the notes prepared as well. Okay, again, you'll be getting the tools, all the tools required for the course. Okay, so again, everything is inclusive in the course price, which you can confirm with the institute points. Okay, because again, there are people joining from various institutes in this demo, guys. So I don't want to give one single price for all of you. Your institutes might have some variation in the prices. Okay, so yeah, that's that. Nothing further for our course or for the demo today. If you have any questions, you can let me know. If not, we can exit this session and join back tomorrow at 9 p.m. for the first class networking.
Sure, this is Shrikant again. So I have one quick question for you. So right now we are moving on to AWS and Azure, right? So do you also cover this cloud security on the AWS part of it? Because I see that we are talking about virtualization and downloading it on our laptop, right?
Again, that's a completely different course, Shrikant, as mentioned, I'll be sharing the resources for it. We'll be talking on a very general term for cloud security on all the service providers, like whether it be AWS or whatever. So again, it's going to talk about the basic requirements for proper security establishment on a cloud environment, not specifying to only one single provider. But again, if you need certain resources specifically on AWS, I'll be there to provide you the resources and help you out with that individually.
Okay. And because we are looking at VPN and this firewalls, right? So when we are, especially when it comes to VPN, the data and the application is at our level, and the web layer is in the cloud. So at that point of time, I mean, if we are looking at the security, what are the things that we need to take into consideration? How do we approach it? These are the things, the nuances, right? So when we are moving to cloud, how does it work? Will you be able to cover that?
And what are you exactly referring to, Shrikant? I didn't get your point. Are you talking about the application that is based on the cloud? Are you talking about your network, the whole database that is based on the cloud?
So the completely the scenario is changing here, right? So the data is in private, it's in our private network, and the web layer that should be that's getting hosted on the application, right? So that's getting hosted on the cloud. So at this point of time, when you have data in your private infrastructure, the hybrid cloud. I'm talking about hybrid cloud.
Yeah,
So
understood.
so how do we approach those kind of scenarios? And
We break it down in parts. Again, when you talk about the data which is stored locally on your systems in your own private organization, you test the security of those devices first, those servers, okay, FTP servers or web servers or whatever it be. I show you how to test the security of those devices internally in your intranet. So if you're in the local network as those devices, How do you test if these devices have any services which might be vulnerable? How do you test the vulnerability, and how do you keep those those internal or intranet devices secure first? Now, when you talk about cloud security again, those might be you might be able to access them from a web-based interface. There comes the web application testing part. You try to test the security on the front end from the website-based application. Okay. Again, we will not be covering SAST as mentioned again, Shrikant. If you're working for a product-based company, okay, we will not be getting into SAST, source code security testing, or static analysis security testing. We only cover DAST on the front end. If that application has input fields, it has any as mentioned, your input fields or various applications with again various vulnerabilities such as SQL injections, cross-site scripting. On the front end, we'll be testing the security of those applications. We will not be having, we might not usually have access to the source code, and we will not even if we do, we won't be covering that source code testing in this course. So again, if it's your internal devices, that comes in network security. If it's a cloud-based device, if it's a web application, we talk about web application testing. We are segregating it there, dividing it in different parts. I hope that clarifies.
Got it. So when we are doing the private, when we are testing private networks, so we would be looking only at that, the database and the whatever the endpoints are connected to that LAN and
Exactly.
stuff like that, right?
Right, exactly.
So for that one, the things that you were mentioning about network scanning and port scanning, would that suffice for that one?
Yeah, that's the only procedure available, Shrikant.
Okay.
That is that is the only available process. There's nothing else other than that we can do. So that is the procedure to follow. You use vulnerability scanning tools. You find vulnerabilities automatically first. From that report, then you perform manual testing again. Test every vulnerability that is shown in the report on each of those devices and verify. So again, other than that, there is no other procedure, frankly speaking.
So if you are leaving source code for a while, just for the application servers and database servers, whatever the servers we have, we would be treating it as endpoints, and this syllabus, whatever we are going to cover, is going to cover the scanning part of it,
Yes,
right?
definitely. We will be covering that.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thanks, sir.
Muhammad, I have another question.
Yeah, just go ahead.
Sorry. If I fall into the under different instructor, right? Will they be covering the same material?
Yeah, there's no difference, Jasbir. Again, the material is same, the course content is same, topics will be same. I'm going to be the same instructor. No difference in anything at all. You will still be learning all the topics that are required for you to get a job role in cybersecurity, as mentioned, the job roles which I've mentioned earlier here.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Any other questions, guys? Rohan, you can confirm that with the institute once, Rohan. Because again, as mentioned, there are students from different institutes here, which I'm taking the course for. So there, the price might be varying a bit. So there might be a conflict there. So again, you can please confirm with the institute once. Or again, I've dropped my number here as well in the chat box. You can personally text me on that number on WhatsApp, and I can let you know. Sure. So yeah, that's that, guys. Nothing further for our session today. I'm going to exit the class now. I hope you understood everything, and I hope there are no questions any further. Please do let me know if you do have any questions. If there's anything that you want to personally ask, I have dropped my number in the chat box. And yeah, have a good day. Have a good weekend, guys. And happy Dasra to everyone. And see you soon. There's a class tomorrow at 9 p.m. where we'll talk about networking concepts, the first class. Please do join that if you're interested. Okay. Good day. Bye bye, guys. Take care.